Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview with a friend who is going on 30 years that I've known, Robert Stover. What's up, my brother?
How's it going? You're making me feel old.
Dude, when we were syncing up on how many years it's been, I knew it was I was gonna say 25, but I didn't think it was gonna be more years than that.
Getting close to 30 is pushing it. That's.
We are getting old, but let's hope we're getting wiser, guys. So Robert has been a consultant to me. I have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in Robert's advice, and that investment has resulted in millions of dollars of results in business. And in some cases, I would even say saving a company. I mean, you might tell a story at some point around a startup called Smart Reply, where, there were times where the decisions that we made with Smart Reply would have resulted in, anything from a lot less success to out of business. And with Robert's help as a strategist and as a marketer, thankfully that became a success story, as well as Mortgage Coach has. So he's been a friend pre-Mortgage Coach. Before Mortgage Coach was even an idea, I hired Robert to create some consumer direct marketing content for me. So let me say a couple more things to frame today's call, and then I'm going to bring Mr. Stover on stage. So I have to imagine that anyone on this call right now, you guys know about SCRIPT-a-PALOOZA. You follow us, your friends, your family, you are active in this Mortgage Coach community. But I want to make sure we really think about what a special event that was. First of all, the 13 top producers that shared what they did. I don't know that it's often that there is a stage, whether it's a couple hours or 3 hours, where you have this many elite performers that not only close a lot of loans, but they give a lot of advice. So we had over 1,500 people watch the event live. The video has been viewed over 2,000 times now, and it's scaling. I mean, it looks like even if we don't market it at Mortgage Coach, it's going to get to 5,000. So a lot of loan officers have access to this. And here's the deal, guys. When you think of all the ideas, you had Amber Kovark share how to win in this low inventory market. And she actually gave you her scripting. You had Wally Ilderberry, closed over 500 loans last year. Exactly how he's getting databases from CPAs and professionals. And he gives you the script and he breaks it down for you. You had Jeremy Forcier, closed over 500 loans. I've interviewed countless of times. Show how he's getting meeting with realtors. And guys, he gave you his script in detail. And other scripts, like all these scripts are more loans. We had the number one loan officer in America, Shant Bedosian, who I've interviewed, share exactly how he presents himself and what his value prop is. He even did like a 2-minute cold call to a realtor. So like, needless to say, I could go on and I could go on, and I am showing a few more slides, but you just had a tremendous amount of value. And here's what I know. All of this value and all of the potential of this content will not be achieved by most of you. And really the purpose of today's call with Mr. Stover is to increase the odds. I want some of you to actually double your business this year, even with rates going up, even with some of the challenges in the marketplace. And I know for a fact that double your double your production this year is possible. Even if rates go up, even if inventory gets worse, it's possible to double your business in the most difficult market. So with that said, Stover's going to walk us through his process, something that would cost you thousands of dollars to get Robert for a day, for half a day, is a minimum of a $2,000 to $5,000 spend. Dan Keller hired him last year, or maybe it was last year, maybe it was 2019, to come out and teach some realtors some breakthrough strategies. But he's going to walk you through some consulting, some processes, so you can get a plan to double your business year, regardless of market conditions. So Stover, rock it out, walk us through your process. And anything you want to say about yourself?
I have nothing to say about myself.
Well, given that it's been a couple of years since you've been in this community,
I love this stuff.
Give us a minute. Give us a minute.
A minute, all right. My whole passion, wrong or right, is about creating breakthroughs. It's not like the gradual gains. I've always been interested by that. Everything I've ever researched has been around creating breakthroughs. As I say, success leaves clues with sort of breakthroughs. And so I just want to share with you today some of the stuff. For example, we're going to cover 3 of the major levers that create 300% plus increases in businesses. I interview a bunch of Inc. 500 CEOs. You'll hear about some of the work we did with Dave. And so I'm just excited to share those things with you, as well as a simple process I found to help you discover them in your unique situation. And so let's just get on with it. So is my slides showing there?
They are. Let's rock.
All righty. So as Dave and I talked, as he just mentioned, I don't need to give you any more content. You've gotten everything you need to double your business from the Script-a-PALOOZA. And I was looking at it, and Dave and I were talking, and here's the big concern. You've gotten all this treasure, seminar syndrome. All of us know, like me included, you go to a seminar, you hear all these cool ideas. It's like, oh, wow, if I did this, or I did that, or I did this. And then you come back home and a loan falls out, an offer gets declined, a realtor cheats on you and goes with someone else. Also, all that stuff's out the window and you're back to your regular life. And we didn't want that to happen. And the other thing is when you look at so many strategies all at once, it can be like the fire hose. And it's like, well, which of those is right for me and my situation and my interest in things? So we wanted to give you a little bit of a field guide today to the breakthrough process and how to take all of that gold and actually put some of it in the bank. So Dave was going to talk about, he ran some stats the other day on the Facebook group, some really stunning stats on some of the dark clouds kind of coming in the industry, which makes this talk even more important on helping you get out into a coming storm and growing forward. So Dave, why don't you talk about some of the issues?
Well, why don't you stop sharing your slides, just because I'm going to show 2 or 3 slides. And I think I don't need to show any slides around rates have gone up a little bit and there are less refis. And I saw one news article said there's 43% less. I saw another one that said there's 64%, refis are 64% down. And I know we came into the year knowing that we were going to lose $1 trillion in refis. So that's like, we got it. We knew that. And then of course, well, the good news is the bad news is we lost $1 trillion. The good news is we got $1 trillion. And then of course we came into the year going, that's okay though, because purchase money is going to be up and we're local, referral-based mortgage professionals. We kill it in purchase business. But we've come into a bit of a headwind. I put a poll in the Mortgage Coach group last week asking what percentage of your TBDs, your pre-approvals, are winning. Like when they go to buy a home, what percentage are winning? And I was shocked. Not one single person in the market said it's like 70% more. And I was shocked that the majority of the people said 3 out of 10. Like they're averaging less than 3 out of 10. Now, I don't know what market you're in, but guys, look at this. Look at how much less inventory this is. I interviewed David Childers from Keeping Current Matters yesterday, and he's going to be my guest this Friday. And we're going to go into this in more details. But guys, look at this. I mean, it's like upside down. And when you look at where listings are, I mean, we're talking going back a lot of years to find inventory where it was. And this is a little chart from a couple of weeks ago. Look at it. Every single market in the country has less inventory. We're not talking like 10% less, 20% less. We're talking 50. Like good markets are 37% less. Look at this, Arizona. 63% less listings. So that's good for home values. So, real estate is strong, but that's bad if you're a lender and you're trying to, refis have cut in half and you're trying to kill it in the purchase market. That's like a lot of wind in our face. So Stover, those are some of the clouds in today's market.
All right.
Hey, one more little cloud. A couple weeks ago, I'm sure most people saw this news, but you saw the news from Zillow that a Zestimate is not a Zestimate in 20 markets. In 20 markets, that little button that says this is the value on Zillow, which hundreds of millions of families are addicted to, is click button, get home, and there's Zillow mortgage. So that's another, call it macro wind that the machine is coming. And if you're local and you're referral based, there's no slip ups. We need a good plan. We need to develop new skills. We need to execute the right strategies for our market, for our personality, or your next couple of years are looking rough. So sorry, Stover, I just had to throw that in there because
Oh, that's
it's
right.
reality.
So yeah, and then the big question is, given that, what if you do nothing? What if you do nothing with what you learned at Script-a-Palooza? What is your year going to be like, or your next 2 years going to be like? So we want to flip that. And the first thing we're going to cover is underlying breakthroughs. There's always some beliefs and mindsets involved. And common sense is hunker down, ride out the storm, right? Stop spending. Well, you know what? If I can do 80% of what I did, if I can do 70% of what I did last year, I'll be okay. If I can do the same as I did last year, that's a win. In a down market, I do the same, that's a win. But those aren't the mindsets or attitudes or beliefs that actually create the growth and the breakthroughs. What created is the uncommon sense, which is to develop an attitude that I'm going to grow forward, even though growth doesn't look like an option. You can put belief number one, I'm going to win in spite of circumstances, not because of circumstances. 2006, 2007, anybody could win. Late 2008, 2009, you had to choose to win, to choose to stay in the game and fight through it. One of the best stories, and it's kind of fun because I'm going to turn the tables on Dave here. Usually he's the one doing the interviews. So there's this plucky little entrepreneur. Most of you know Dave is, the game-changing mortgage coach, the impact that's had on the industry and stuff. You didn't know Dave when he was a scrappy entrepreneur selling little disc at events in paper sacks and going without income so that he could pay his guests. So Dave, you mind if we get into a little bit of the story with you?
That's a great picture. I love that. The picture on the right is really dating back to when we used to sell Mortgage Coach with CD-ROMs. And then the picture on the left is when Joe and I rolled out Edge with my co-founder, Greg. Yeah, so I love that, dude.
All right. So what isn't all sunshine? So Dave scrapped and scraped like any startup entrepreneur would, and him and Greg and the team. And they grew Mortgage Coach to a respectable, I think it was on a 16 million valuation at the time. And then 2008 hit, obliterated them. Worse is will not name names, but in other institutions, people were pressuring Dave to just drop it and put all the money into the other thing, just end Mortgage Coach. But he chose to battle on, and he brought in Joe, and they made two changes. One, they went from selling individuals to selling multi-seat licenses, going after broker dealers and stuff instead of onesie twosies. That was change number one, and we'll talk about what that was later. Change number two was they went from a CD-ROM to online. They shifted the format, which is the proposition that they did. So those two changes and not quitting completely transformed not just Mortgage Coach, but transformed the lives of how many users are now on Mortgage Coach through the
more importantly than the 12 to 13,000 plus users of Mortgage Coaches last year, 1.7 million total cost analysis were created, and they were viewed 5.5 million times. So we're impacting millions of families annually around picking mortgage decisions. So yeah, we've come a long way.
So Dave, for people listening, I mean, when you get hit 2008, it obliterates. Other people are telling you just drop it and stuff. What's going on with you about sticking in and going, I'm going to win in spite of this instead of because of a great market?
Well, I mean, I always felt like the biggest asset of Mortgage Coach was the people that use Mortgage Coach. And that's why I started doing these Tuesday interviews, is to like, hey, let's bring on these great mortgage professionals that are not only closing a lot of loans, but they're doing it in a way that's more valuable to the consumer. But I can't remember what year it was. I think it might've been 2011 when I saw Simon Sinek do his TED Talk on the power of why. And I got this, this why that was much bigger than, hey, I'm a SaaS company, looking for loan officers. It was like, hey, we're all about the consumer. And we could reinvent how families in America get into debt. And it was that why, it was that mission. And then that's why I create so much content, guys, is I believe like if you're gonna change the way people do business, you need to change the way they think. And the only way you can change the way they think is over communicate. You gotta interview amazing people and bring that better way of doing things.
Talk about how you turned yourself around, because nobody's having a good day when everything they've worked on has been decimated. What were things you said or did to fight on during that period?
Focus on the positive. I always feel like if we think about about the change we can make, the positive we can make, and we're coming from a place of gratitude and future, it drowns out the stress. I think Jonathan Roach made a post the other day about that. But I mean, that's always been my mantra. Like, think about the possibilities. Now you got to get clear on the possibilities. And guys, stay tuned. Robert's going to get into the process of how do you get clear on the possibilities? How do you create a step-by-step plan to execute? But it was that vision over today thinking and planning for me.
I like that, vision over today. Belief number 2, crisis can be an opportunity. And that can be a platitude, like, oh, but I mean, just look at the market we've been in the last year and look at all of the industries and education and other things that are transforming because of the crisis. Our lives going forward will all be different and in many cases better because of the technology already existed, but now it's been forced into use. Grandmas are on Zoom now. They know how to rock Zoom, right? So that never would have happened without the crisis. So that's not to belittle or make small the intense struggle a lot of people have had during it. But within that crisis can be incredible opportunity. I want to do another Dave story because a lot of you guys don't know this one as well. So Dave started a company with his partners called Smart Reply. And they scrapped by for about 1.5 years to hit $1 million revenue. So they're finally kind of break that million, like, yay, it's the big day going. It was a mobile marketing company. The FCC comes in and changes the legality of what you can and cannot do. And those changes would wipe out 80% of Dave's client base. And they only gave 3 months warning. So you've got 3 months to turn it around or your business is vaporized. So, Dave's seeking a lot of advice and counsel and all this other stuff. And as we analyzed the company, what kind of came forward, there was one segment where Smart Reply could win long-term and play the game long-term, which was in the retail segment. But a lot of other voices are going, don't specialize, don't focus, don't do it. How can we only sell one market? It limits our options. It'll destroy the company, on and on and on. So that was not an easy decision to make, even though the indicators were there that it would be very successful. But it was by no means a guarantee. Everybody's twitchy about it. So Dave, what was going on for you when you're getting all that different pulling advice and having to you placed a bet?
Yeah, well, so one other little footnote is when we started and founded that company, we thought it was going to take us about $500,000 in personal investment. And at the time that this change happened, the company wasn't growing as fast as we wanted it to. And we were at $1.3 million in personal capital in the business. So one, as founders and partners, we're like, man, we double spent, we almost triple spent to get where we were. And now this change happened. And so, I mean, I don't know what I was thinking because that was not a bright day or week, but I can tell you the decision that you helped me make at that time, which was to say, we're going to invest all of our resources in retail, despite the fact that I had a mortgage and financial services background. And when I founded the business, I mean, I really founded it to take this marketing tech to financial services and mortgage. But what you helped me discover is, you know what? Retail. Like, look, you're spending 80% of your time on mortgage and financial services, and you're spending less than 20% of your time on retail. But yet, I know it was over 50. I want to say it was 60 or 70% of our revenue was retail. And bottom line is, we made a decision. Retail is where we're going to niche. And we made a decision that every person we would hire from the retail industry. The gentleman on the far right is Eric Coleman, who was a 15, 20-year retail marketing executive. The gentleman just to the left of him in the picture is Jeff Handler, the VP of marketing. When we met Jeff, he was the VP of marketing for Sports Authority, who became $1 million a year client. But Stover, that decision on we're going to go after retail not only saved the company, but we went from $1 million in revenue to a trailing 18 million in revenue within, I don't know, I want to say 3 years from that point.
Right. So the growth, if you look at that growth, it's just like 900%, 1,000% growth. And that growth, it wasn't like you guys, because a lot of people, when they hear the word breakthrough, what they think is hard work. It's not that you don't have to work. It's that Dave and his team weren't working 1,000% harder to create 10 times the result as they were before. They were working their tails off before and struggling and frustrated and everything else. But the difference was the strategies, the power of altering your strategies and your approaches and stuff that created it. I've kind of got the summary up on here. You went from near death to 18 million. I think one of the most spectacular things, I'll let you tell the story, was scrappy little smart reply in the world of mobile marketing. And in Europe, it's huge, long before it was in the US, and in Japan. So at the World Mobile Marketing Association, why don't you tell the story?
Well, I think it was 2005. And, like I said, there was about 18 to 20 companies that won this coveted worldwide mobile marketing award. And the year prior, there was no American companies. They were all overseas in Europe and Asia. That's where mobile marketing started. And I think it was 2005. You can check my Instagram to see what the date was. Or no, not Instagram, but LinkedIn.
Didn't exist then.
Yeah, but there were 3 companies that year that won the mobile marketing award, and it was Procter & Gamble, Verizon, and Smart Reply. Now, I will tell you, we did not put any more money into Smart Reply to get to that 18 million run rate. Winning this award did help, although we would not have won this award if we didn't hire Eric Coleman, if we didn't focus on retail. So it was like that decision, and then we became excellent. I mean, and by the time I sold Smart Reply, we had the Gap, we had Old Navy, we had 80 of America's top 200 retailers using us for their mobile marketing. So it wasn't about more money. It wasn't about more hours. It was about a strategy, a niche, a focus. So anyway, Stover, I hope I told it the way you wanted me to.
Good enough. So, and what I'm trying to do with these Dave stories is use him as a proof text for what we're talking about, and how important these beliefs and mindsets are, and that the breakthrough thing just isn't a cliche. It's for real and possible. The next one we all know: the greater the challenge you face, the more focused your mind's going to be. When there's a great challenge, fuzzy goals and plans and objectives and maybes and some days don't cut it. It forces you to look at your resources differently. You discover different insights into opportunities you already had but didn't see, which is a very common theme in this. Like with Dave, they already had the retail clients. That knowledge was there. The ability to act on it was there. But until the crisis, there was no reason to look for it or find it, but it already existed. It makes you do things differently. Status quo isn't going to keep you alive anymore. You have to look outside yourself. We become a little more humble and open to advice and counsel and knowledge and resources when it can hit us. And what's streaming on Netflix or HBO stops being what we're thinking about late in the day. as it goes on. It's like, yeah, how do I create results? And so, what you focus on grows. Next, leverage beats force. As you just heard with Dave, they weren't working harder. They found the leverage of a strategy that did it. So one of my ugly illustrations, on the left side of on the illustration, there's hustle and there's productivity and there's motivation and mindset, and all of that stuff is good and necessary. But when you study breakthroughs, that's not what happened. It formed a foundation. Like Dave and his team were hard workers and they hustled and all that other stuff before the breakthrough. But when the breakthrough happens, there's leverage, and that leverage is strategy, it's insight, it's knowledge, it's ideas and imagination that all come together and create something new. It creates innovation as it goes up. That's what you need for the breakthrough. The straight hustle and grind forms a foundation. Those are, you give me two people, one's lazy and doesn't work much, and the other one's a hustler. He's on top of it. He plans, he times block. He's what would the word be? Diligent. I'd much rather take that guy and work on him with breakthroughs than I would the lazy guy. But all of that productivity and diligence and stuff often isn't enough. You need to bring in these other ideas into your practice. Take jujitsu, it's all about leverage and angles. And what you never hear a jujitsu instructor screaming at a student is force it, work harder, put more effort into it. You're never going to hear that. What you're going to hear is change the angle, adjust, modify, right? Look for that leverage for it. And we all know surfing, they don't create the force, they ride the force. They look for a leverage, they look for a greater force. Snow skiing's using the force of gravity, sailing's using the power of the wind. And so when you're looking at your business, you're looking for these leverage points that you have in your business that you can tap into and ride and surf as it goes, and in the strategies. And that's what multiplies your output, not just working an extra 4 hours a day until 10 o'clock at night. You can leverage the authority and longevity of financial planners and CPAs, your past client database, your existing client relationships in order to start, for example, a life insurance company. I'm going to let Dave come back on that one. Referrals, clients, partners, and databases. Dave, why don't you talk about like what Wally's done? What he's leveraged his partner's database. It's like insane. I'll let you tell it.
So there were, just countless breakthroughs sitting in Script-a-PALOOZA, but nothing jumped out at me more than Wally Elderberry telling us all how he went from 2,000 past customers under management that had taken him more than a decade to build. Like, these are people where I know they're homeowners, I've got all their data, I've got a relationship. And in less than 2 years, he grew it to 11,000. So today, in 2 years, he's sitting on 11,000 past customers. And in last year, 2020, record-breaking year, he closed just a little over 500, but closer to 500 loans than 600 loans. And when you look at the math, if you've got 11,000 mortgages under management, the undisputable math on that is there are 3,000 families paying off their home every year. That means there are 3,000 mortgage opportunities for you. And just knowing the math in the mortgage coach land, like a good high-performing team or loan officer averages a 10% past customer pull-through rate. Meaning if they've got 1,000 past customers, that should be 100 loans a year. If you've got 500 past customers, that should be 50 loans a year. If you have more than 10,000 past customers, that should be 1,000 loans a year. And so Wally, in this market, regardless of what happens with interest rates, regardless of low inventory, is sitting on 1,000 loans a year. It's just a question of, will he see it? Will he believe it? Will he create a plan and a process to achieve it? But he's sitting on a double my business year this year. And I would make a case that everybody on this call right now, you are sitting on, who cares about interest rates? Who cares about inventory? You are sitting on an opportunity to double your business. You just need to get clear on it, and you need to document a way to get there.
All right, so belief number 5 is kind of a fun one. uniqueness principle. Is looking back over the years, all the companies work, when the strategies we came up with and stuff. What really jumps out is a lot of the real breakthrough ones were very unique to that individual, that time in that company. They often couldn't be replicated at another time in that. The same strategy wouldn't be able to be cut and pasted and just given to somebody else. It was a very uniqueness to them. And we all, we have thumbprints, and there's two things about thumbprints that are true. One, we all have them. But two, it's the uniqueness of it. So the same here. These same principles, like the 80-20 rule and things like that, apply to all of us. But what's unique is our differences in things. And so you want to look at that. What is that? Let me give you, I was talking with a guy, he was wanting to grow his business, and part of his business was rental loans. And he decided, you know what, I'm kind of done with realtors. I want to go rental loans. And so we were talking about what he could do. And he's like, okay, I can join this association, this association. And so we talked about it. That was like about a year out. And then I can profile, because not all contractors are the same, and I need to find good contractors to work with to refer rental loans, but they have to be able to accept referrals as well. And I have to know that they're good, they can't be crap contractors. So as we talked about it, what was bothering is like, okay, great strategy. Separating yourself, moving out. The problem is going to industry functions and doing this and reaching out, and that's like a years-long process that we're looking at. And I said, what would happen if you had to do this in 2 weeks? It's like, oh, you can't do that in 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, and he came up with the idea, I didn't. He's like, oh my word, my bank has been doing rental loans forever, and most of those loans are orphans. There's no loan officer on top of them. There's nobody following up. I can just reach out to the contractors that we already have a relationship with. Done. 2 weeks. Uniqueness. Just the other day, I'm talking with a life coach, and he's going, I don't know what to do with my business. And so I said, well, who's your worst customers? Who's the best clients you've had? And as we looked at the best clients, all of them were business leaders. One of them was the director of the local chamber of commerce. And so I'm going, well, you want to work with business leaders? She's the director of the Chamber of Commerce. Let's do a Zoom meeting. So on April, the Friday after tax day, he's going to be doing a Zoom meeting on the 3 pillars of success for business leaders. And he's in the prime thing. That was a very unique to him. Not any other coach could come up with that. And I would encourage that within your interests and passions and your database and your contact and your resources, there may be some really unique factors in there that you can leverage, and that will help create a breakthrough going forward. So when you look at Script-a-Palooza, there's only three strategies, which sounds crazy because there's 50 things, but they all fall into these categories. It's the TAP formula, TAP, and that is a change at one of these points. Who you target, how you approach them, or the proposition or offer that you make them will double or triple your business. So if you look at all the breakthrough things, you look at Inc. magazine, you go back and study them, they made a change at one or more of these junctures, and that's what created the breakthrough. So this is a real simple way. I usually do a triangle, put the T at the top. A real simple way to look at your business right now and go, who are my prime targets for sources? Am I a consumer direct guy? Am I going after realtors? Do I have several? I've got some financial planners, and I've got some realtors, and I do a little past client and consumer direct. So get clear on who's my target. And then, out of those, where do I get most of my business? And what does that suggest about where I focus? Or maybe I listen to Script-a-Palooza, and darn it, divorce attorneys, man. I want to go after divorce attorneys or financial planners or whatever else. The approach, and I'll talk about this in a minute, is how you come to them, how you reach out to them. Are you cold calling them? Are you doing a talk and they come up into you and you come in with a real strong authority thing? Proposition or offer, we'll get into as well. Let's look at these. Who's your prime lure source? Referrals, consumer direct, past clients, CPAs, divorce attorneys, entrepreneurs. Who do you want to focus on here in Orange County in Southern California? Talk radio, there's somebody that focuses on entrepreneurs, and nonstop they're advertising. If you're an entrepreneur, we specialize in your kind of home loans. we like your problems, and come to us. And they built their whole business around entrepreneurs. So there's so many choices here that can be made, but just get, for you, who's your prime loan sources, and who do you want your prime loan sources that you want to be? Approach, how do we get there? Am I going to do it with social media? For example, if I'm going after realtors, I can cold call them. I can reach out and connect with them on social media. I can send them a shock and awe thing. One realtor, I can get my realtors to do it. I can get my past clients to introduce me to other realtors. Right. So there's a lot of ways you can approach, but how you do that just has an insanely dramatic impact. Some of the people here knew Ron, the late Ron Quintero, and his real estate news network. And when he came to me, so he's selling the monthly radio programs on the radio with airtime for like Saturday shows and stuff. And he had a sales page that he was having his clients go to, and they'd go through it. And he had 9 videos. And as I looked, for those of you who know the Ron, he was a dynamic guy. You get him on stage, he was a fireball. But when on the video, it just wasn't coming off. And it's like, oh, and changing the copy on this or that isn't going to do it. So I sat back and go, okay, what's unique about Ron? Fireball on stage. He loves speaking. What's unique about mortgage lenders? And I remember, like in Vegas or after the different mortgage events, they all go out to Mortensen's, right? Big dog at each other, 300 bottles of wine at the steakhouse. So I'm thinking about that. What else is true about the top loan officers? Aggressive, competitive, right? And so we kind of put all these things together, and what we came up with was a completely different approach. Instead of like, hey, go to this website and look at these different videos about my real estate network, we sent them a FedEx package. First of all, we called up local title and realtors and said, who are the top lenders in your city? And we got all of those. Those are who we targeted. The package went out and said, hey, we're looking for a radio host. And it's going to give you access to realtors, going to give you a little bit of celebrity, but you got to be good. You got to be able to, carry yourself on the radio. I'm going to present the opportunity at Morton's in an evening at Morton's Steakhouse in your area. You're invited. Dinner's on me. Oh, by the way, and then we stapled a list of all the other top lenders that were invited on the back of that letter. Drop that in a FedEx and sent it. He had lenders calling, going, cancel it. I'm your guy, right? So we stuck the people in a situation where their natural competitiveness took over, and he went to popping 60 to 80 grand an event as he grew that network and stuff. From nothing to 80 grand in an event, that's the power of approach. And all of you, no matter who you're targeting, can make changes in your approach. The next one, proposition, is real simple. So let's start a new loan officer. Hey, I'm a really hardworking and I'm loyal and I don't make a lot of commission killing mistakes. Really, you can trust. Will you hire me, right? So if you go into a realtor, is that a pitch gonna do it? On the other hand, if you go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I can help you get more listings from your past customers in 30 days. May not make sense for you though. Can I show something to you? And then you show some of the mortgage coach tools that you can go after their database with. That's a dramatically different proposition from their perspective as they're going. You're still doing loans, but from their perspective, you're giving them listings, commissions, you're increasing their income. Going after financial planners. I can make you look like a hero to your clients. I can increase your assets under management. I can do all this stuff versus, hi, if you know any of your clients that need a loan, I'm a really good guy. It's night and day. Like Wally, I encourage anybody looking at financial planners needs to go look at what Wally did on how he's approaching them. That's a radically different proposition. So who you target, how you approach them, and what you offer them when you do approach them. Any one of those can double your business, and not by working harder, by working smarter. The process. So we've got, okay, I've got these beliefs, I can do it, but I've got all this stuff. How do I kind of come into it? Number one, a blank canvas. You're on your own. But There we go. Okay. Create a breakthrough objective. So it sounds like goal setting. So what I love doing is setting a really aggressive 90-day objective that you're not even sure you can accomplish. In fact, it should probably be a little bit on the impossible side. Like, oh, there's no way I can do that. This is a way to mimic the dynamics of a crisis without having to go through the crisis. It's the only way. I know other guys who used to work with Fortune 500 companies, and they would come in and do this process, and then they basically tell the employees, here's the objective, you have to hit it, or you'll probably be fired. Oh, here's a guy that can help you. And suddenly they were focused, and they'd come up with all these breakthrough ideas. You need this object. It can't be just a fuzzy, I want to do better next year. It has to be something aggressive in 90 days, and you aren't sure you're going to accomplish it. And if you can throw a little pain in on it, if you don't, it's nice. That's going to get your mind focused. You're going to see resources you didn't even know you had to achieve that goal if you do just that. Aggressive 90-day goal. 2, insight inventory. We mentioned the uniqueness principle. Sit down. What's my location? What are the dynamics in my location? Who are my existing contacts? Is it realtors? Is it financial planners? Is that? What size is my customer database? Who do I actually love working with? Like, if I drew a line, like, what clients have I hated? Which ones have I loved? Is there anything in there? We know some people have found out they're really good with doctors and medical professionals, and they focus on them. Other with entrepreneurs. Others have a type of loan they like, right? So it doesn't matter. You just want to do your unique insight inventory, and so that you can start to do it. Once you find those insights, the next phase is ideas and strategy. So in a way, like if we go back to Dave's example with Smart Reply, when we did the insight inventory, it came up like, oh, wow, retailers have a reason to contact people every week. They've got databases of 300 to 1 million customers. So that's a lot of revenue. So they've got a lot of people and a lot of reasons for to do it. If we do a strategy for one retailer, we can roll it out to every other retailer. For example, we discovered that if we pre-called or sent them a text and said, hey, you've got a flyer coming in the mailbox, a postcard on our sale day, same store sales would go up 15% that weekend. That's huge. Well, now Dave and his team could roll that out. So once we saw those possibilities, in a way, the idea and strategy is simple, even though it was very hard. Was it an easy, hard decision where, oh, crud, retail makes sense to focus on in that. So ideas and strategies tend to come pretty easy once you have the insights around your database. Rapid and safe actions. I'm not the big gung-ho 100% action, right? Let's take some smart actions. What's an easy way to test my hypothesis? Look at your ideas like a hypothesis, like on this approach to mortgage on lenders. Let me try it with a couple. Let me reach out. Let me go to my customer database, ask a few who their financial planner is, ask them to introduce me, and let me try this out. You want just safe, but you want rapid. You want to get into momentum, but safe and sane. And if it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul. R3. Once you've taken action, you reflect. Some of what you've done makes no sense and you should never do it again. Wow, not going to do that again. You reject it. Others are like, ew, that almost worked. I think I just need to tweak it this way, right? Iterations. You revise it. Some things you do are going to be slam home runs and you're like, whoa, just run with it, right? Throw all your force and energy into it. So let's go back again. It's just the simple. Number one, you got to have a 90-day intense objective, or you're most likely not even going to see the insights and the resources. 2, this is where your power is. This is where your leverage is your insight inventory. 3, from that, you form your ideas and strategy, get into action. Look at what you've done. Very simple process. But this process creates breakthroughs. When so many of the businesses that I studied got their breakthrough after a crisis. Don't wait for the crisis, because a lot of them could have done the same thing 2 years earlier. They just didn't see a need to. Nothing forced them to look for the insights. Once the crisis hit, they found the insight that they already had the whole time. So that's the basic process. And then Dave, so anyway, here's an invitation. If people want help with that process, if you want someone to nudge you and cajole you and drill you and ask questions, we're going to invite you. We're going to call it Results-a-Palooza, just rolling off Script-a-Palooza there. And we're going to do a 30-day workshop. It's not going to be long-term. It doesn't need to be long-term, but I want to do it hands-on, where we do help you figure out your personal breakthrough plan based on your personal production, your location, past clients, lead sources, your personality and goals. What you hate, what you love, who hates you, who loves you. And then we'll do 4 virtual workshops. We'll get on like this, but we'll open it up. We'll bring you on. We'll do hot seats so that you can get feedback on your ideas from me and from others. And we'll use the power of the tribe, get them all focused on you and helping you come up with your own breakthrough thing. We'll do a private Facebook group. You can jump in if you've got questions, if you want someone to look at your strategy. I'll jump in on a daily basis and scan through and help out. It'll be recorded so you don't miss anything. And at the end, you have your breakthrough plan in 30 days. So, a warning, these are working sessions, not an information dump. So I've got information dump stuff, but this isn't it. This is going to be, we're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to create a plan. We're going to get you into action. If you know you aren't the type that's going to take action, don't join. We want to keep it action focused, folks. And then it might be game changing for your business. The investment, you get an easy $5,000 for $1,000. But then there's Dave. And so earlier he's going like, dude, I got him here. I've done the work. Let's get him in, coming into this market at $595 today. So that's that. So anyway, if you want to join, you can come out to robertstover.com/results. Dave, I think you're going to drop that link in the chat. I don't have access to the chat here.
Nope, we already dropped it, guys. Anybody that wants to take action, a link to this is down below. I also plan to attend these. And guys, my goal with Mortgage Coach is to make the Mortgage Coach loan officer the alpha, most successful loan officers in the markets that they serve. There's, who's the best loan officer? It's the one using Mortgage Coach, and the one that attends our conferences, and the one that connects with the technology partners that we have, and with the consultants like Robert Stover. So there is a link down below. Robert, why don't you stop sharing? Well, actually, before you stop sharing your screen, go back. I don't think you have the triangle, but the approach, target, and proposition. We still got a few minutes before we need to wrap up this call. And I think everybody got a tremendous amount of value if you made that triangle. And I want you to think about, what am I doing today? How many channels of business do you have? And let's just say the most common channel is realtors and past customers. I kind of like threes. I kind of think every referral-based mortgage professional should have 3 channels that they're going after with some intention. I think the big mistake that anyone that has over 500 past customers, I think it's time to flip the switch to saying, like let's say you're brand new in the mortgage business, past customers, and you don't have any past customers, that's probably not your number one customer to focus on. It's probably real estate agents or some type of referral partner, CPAs and financial planners. But once you get over 500 past customers, I would push everybody to flip the switch and say, that's my number one priority. If you have 11,000 past customers, that's 1,000 loans a year if you execute on that. So I just want you to think target matters. And then there's micro targeting. Like part of that Ron Quintero success story wasn't just, he was targeting loan officers before, he was targeting top producers before, but he got it even tighter. Instead of 100 plus targets in a market that he was going to, he got it down to like 20, 25. And he was willing to invest. So he defined the targeting. He completely changed the approach from pure online, watch videos, let them do the selling, to an in-person. Now guys, in today's market, I think it's been over a decade since that. There's a lot of online ways to drive an approach. HomeBot and Mortgage Coach. Like when you listen to Wally Elderberry and how he flipped the switch and went from 1,000 past customers. By the way, you can stop sharing it. I wanted to make sure everybody saw it. Why don't you pull down your screen, Robert, and let's just talk. But it was that approach. Now he's showing CPAs and financial planners that, hey, this is what I'm going to do for your clients. Does a total cost analysis, shows them HomeBot. And now they're like, I want you to do that for all my customers. Here, I'll grab the screen from you, Robert.
I think you've got the control. It's not showing up for me.
Yeah, no problem. So some closing thoughts for everyone, and then Robert, feel free to jump in. I do want to make sure folks also did not miss the link because this is all about making Script-a-PALOOZA more valuable to you. And part of that, this is free, guys. This is in our Facebook group now. I also put a link down below in Zoom, but this is a transcript of Script-a-PALOOZA, and it's even better than a transcript. Like you can literally click on every presenter. We put a hot link so that you could go to Wally's presentation. It started at 13 minutes and 25 seconds. Charlie, sorry guys, had to get my dog off the couch. You could click on that. And then it's got his scripts. It breaks down his scripts. You wanna read and study what Denise did? There's a click. So we want to make the ideas easy for you to consume, digest, remember, and implement. But remember, where the breakthrough happens is when you execute on what Robert said. And I want you to think about everybody on this call. You've got a unique personality. Not everybody's the same. You're in a unique marketplace. You have a certain number of past customers. You have a certain appreciation rate happening in your market. Everybody's got a unique market. So everybody needs a unique plan and approach. So I hope you sign up for Robert's strategy. And Robert, anything you want to add before we see any questions that we have coming in from the community, or we share some closing thoughts?
Well, I'm just excited whether they go to the thing or not. I want to hear the breakthroughs. I mean, I was just stunned when I'm looking through what the guys are giving away at Script-a-PALOOZA. I'm like, oh my word. These strategies, they're giving you the script and the strategy and everything. So I just encourage people to take action on it, man, because you're going to be hearing breakthroughs come out of this Script-a-PALOOZA in the time ahead. And hopefully going today and sharing some of your story and others, they start going like, oh, it's possible for me. I don't have to hunker and just take what the market gives me. I can get my destiny a little in my own hands here, that it is possible to grow forward into a lower market, that I have been sitting on opportunities. I just talked with somebody a while back and she was completely focused on social marketing, social media. And it was a simple question, well, where's your business coming from? So she went back and analyzed it and it was like, oh, it's coming from my past client database. So 80% of her work and effort was going on social. And that's what she thought was working, but she went back and source tracked all the closed loans. They're all coming from her customer database, where she was not working. So there's simple things like that available to people. So just set that aggressive objective and start looking.
And then another thing, one of the reasons I love Bill Hillstad is there is a way using Facebook with your past customers, custom audiences, and just using all of the tools, but it takes that focus. It takes that focus on saying past customers are my number one priority. That could impact, do you hire a customer concierge or not? That could hire, hey, I've got a Facebook and social media market, but do I make how I'm using that technology focused on getting more business from my CPAs and financial, or from my past customers? There are technologies like Sales Boomerang, where you can make sure that you have all the alerts taking place, that when someone lists a home, when someone's credit score goes up, there's all kinds of alerts. Sales Boomerang. Like if your number one priority is your past customer database, you're going to invest different in people. You're going to invest differently in technology. And then, by the way, guys, if you kill it with your past customer database, you're now going to have leads to bring back to your financial planners and your real estate partners. So you've got more value. You are more valuable to those referral partners. But it takes a plan, it takes focus. And while I'm using the focus around past customers a lot because it was just a layup and Wally made a case for it, guys, there's all kinds of strategies you can pick, but the goal is pick a strategy that's going to double your business. Don't pick a strategy that's like, oh, I'm going to do the same this year as last year, or I'm going to make a 10% increase. It's like, how do I make a strategy that doubles? So Robert, we are in the last 5 minutes. Any closing thoughts? I will check both channels to see if people have questions. If you do have questions for Robert, get them in quickly.
Well, I'm just thinking of, I was talking with a guy who's new in the loan industry. So he's brand new and he's trying to call on realtors. And he's like, they all have relationships. I can't do it. We gave him a simple script and using the mortgage coach tools, which was basically, hey, Susan Realtor, I know you already have a relationship with a lender, but right now in your existing database of past customers are a bunch of loans. I've got these tools with the mortgage coach that I can pull those loans out of your database. So keep giving all the business to this other lender, but I want to help you go after these to your customer database and show them some of these opportunities, for a move up or move out and on. And I can create more listings for you. If I bring you more listings, can I have those loans? Done. So he's brand new, no experience, and he got into people that already had existing relationships just with the offer of more listings. So there's so many things that people have available to them if they start looking at the resources. Like, okay, I've got realtors, but I've never actually thought of going after their databases personally and helping them pull the loans out. So it's kind of a passive weight game. Well, if they have a deal, then I'll do it. Or you can go in and create deals using the mortgage coach tools. So I just encourage people to, whatever they do, get into action. Now's the time. Don't wait for the full force of the storm to hit. Get it done. I lost you.
Yeah, Robert, there's been a few people that have asked for your slides. Is it okay if we share those in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group? So guys, in the file section of the Mortgage Coach Facebook group, Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind, there's a little file section there. We'll put these. Guys, that file section in our Facebook group is pure gold. I mean, Dan Keller put in some incredible value last week. David Childers put his slides in to help with low inventory market meetings with realtors. So make sure you check that out. I hope some of you sign up for this Mortgage Coach not Mortgage Coach, this Robert Stover Results Palooza opportunity. I will see you in that. Robert, last words of wisdom for anyone in the Mortgage Coach community before we wrap up today's call.
Set an objective and take some action. The opportunity is there. Just like with you back in the Smart Reply days, you were sitting on an $18 million opportunity you didn't know you had. Right now, with the knowledge from SCRIPT-a-PALOOZA, with their unique assets in place, they are sitting on opportunities to really have a better year next year. I want them to take them.
Right on. And right, guys, we're not talking next year. We're talking this year. Like, these are ideas that within
60 days.
Within 60 days, you could be doubling if you make the right decisions, you put the right thought, and you make the right plan. Guys, this call is a wrap. I hope you got a lot of value from it. Give us a like down below. Follow Robert Stover on social media. Everything he puts out, super smart. I always learn so much from just following Robert on social and our conversations. Stover, thank you for making time. Yeah, pictures of the kids. Thanks for making time to bring all this value to our community, man. I really appreciate it.
It's fun. Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody. This call is a wrap.